Welcome, moms. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm your host, Monica Samuels, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Orchid. Julie.
Hi, friend. How are you?
I am wonderful. You know, Moms Club, we're going crazy. And our social media is doing really well. I mean, I'm having fun.
You're hilarious. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. You've put a couple out there that have made me cackle out loud. So
I introduced today HOA mom.
That's funny.
And mom influencer fails.
Because that's reality.
Yes.
Yeah. The HOA mom is no joke. We have those ladies in our neighborhood. And I'm a little worried that you might... That might be real.
That I've embraced the character too much.
Maybe. I don't know. You did it so well.
I kind of enjoy it with my megaphone and my binoculars. Yeah, no, I think it's pretty fun. So, no, we're having a great time.
Your career is just booming, just so you know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, it's fun doing all this stuff.
I know.
So, and it's just fun, too, getting all these women together from all over the country. I mean,
it's very powerful.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And I would be nowhere without the girlfriends that I have, especially in the last 5 years. It's really, hit the roof as far as needing everybody. And I think a lot of people have been through stuff. And sometimes, addiction creeps its ugly head.
Well,
it can.
Let's remember, as we get into that subject, of course, we're going to be talking about that today. But, but let's remember now we were friends. Our kids graduated in 2020. So that was kind of rough. Of the pandemic.
I remember where we were. Do you?
I sure do. The last day of school, we didn't know it was going to be the last day of school. We thought literally, they're going to have a couple of days off. They have to shut the school down today, but back Monday we'll be back. But
we were literally at a baseball game.
Yeah, my son's baseball game, and an event that I came up with. Just for the record, it was my idea. Diamond Day at St. Andrew's School. I created that. But that was their last big carnival kind of fun thing.
Yeah, raising money, all of that.
Yeah, and so we decided, hey, it's the last day. Not the last day, but
they shut it down. So what did we go do?
They shut down school. So we said, hey, let's have a margarita party at Monica's house. Why,
all in.
I mean, now that we look back on that, the pictures we took and how we acted and all that stuff, it's like, sounds sick. We're celebrating. We're about to go into a serious pandemic.
We didn't know all that.
No, we did not know that.
Yeah. So we were definitely day drinking. That's for sure.
Leslie made her famous margaritas, and we floated around the pool drinking margaritas.
We did.
Then when it became clear that, no, this is a real deal, we are now stuck in our homes and really not able to communicate with see each other.
Yeah.
We then came up with, hey, let's have Zoom cocktail hour.
Yeah, because
what
else were we going to do at the time? We still needed to see each other. We still needed to have fun, but then we came isolated in our homes and we reached out together, but
then it dawned on me one day during one of those events we were having together. I thought, I'm sitting here on a Zoom call, really drinking by myself.
Yeah.
Talking to a screen. I mean, I was talking to you all, but it just was like,
it's different.
That was not good.
Yeah.
And there were so many people that we knew that party never stopped. I mean, it was just...
for me, for sure. I can't really speak. I mean, most of you are pretty good out of our group. There's 5 of us, and some of us don't drink anymore for health reasons. And, you are doing excellent on, working out and being good, except the sour cream and onion martini that you claim as good. But, oh boy.
Well, some drinks will just cure you forever.
Yeah.
I hope forever. I was at a dinner the other night and I tried the sour cream and onion martini.
Tasted I can't even. Every time we talk about it, I throw up a little bit.
It did not go well after that.
Yeah.
But what we've learned, I mean, through all that, don't you feel like drinking turned into too much of a social thing when there could be so many more wonderful things to do?
Yeah,
I mean, don't involve that.
True,
and that's kind of where our friend group is going.
Yep,
and where we're trying to lead Julie. No,
And I totally agree.
No,
but
no,
listen,
no.
you're not in my boat.
No.
Like when you're newly dating out and you're out there, I mean, that's become a thing, and then you're traveling. And so I've taken a hard look at it
Yeah.
recently where, I need to, back off of it a little bit, or, you know what I mean? So I think about it. I talk about it, but there's a lot in life too. Like in the past 5 years, you get diagnosed with something. I had a divorce. My children moved away. These are all things that, you know what I mean, can kick in something that you either don't really want to think about, or, you know what I mean, that can maybe possibly cause you drinking more than normal. That's all I have to say. I think it's truthful.
No, that you're being truthful.
Yeah.
I just think also that's a crutch, right?
What?
Alcohol.
Well, sure,
It's
but I
to
also
make you feel. You think it makes you feel better in a
Right.
difficult time when, like, okay, if I drink that, wow, I'm more relaxed. I feel better.
Well, it definitely
But-
takes away clarity in
yeah,
life.
it's not.
Yeah.
But really, ultimately, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not good for us.
Yes,
or
and it's
good for
really
any-
difficult. There's a couple things about that too. Being married to someone who is an alcoholic, that's always something you have to look at, because you have families, you have kids involved, and this can really do intense damage to your relationships, whether it's a friendship, a child, a husband, anything that along those lines. So, I mean, I think it happens to a lot of people.
Well, it does for sure. And as I've said on previous shows, my grandfather was an alcoholic.
Yes.
And he would beat my grandmother because he was an alcoholic.
It's hard to learn.
My mom's family, a lot of them just didn't drink because they saw that.
Right.
So they knew that.
Right.
But I had to tell my kids when they were going to college, I'd say, that's genetic.
Yeah.
So you need to, you're playing Russian roulette here. You got a 50-50 chance that, unlike your college friends,
Yeah. Pay attention, kids.
you could
yeah.
be drinking forever.
Exactly.
And in fact, one of my sons, one of his roommates, he said, Mom, he's an alcoholic. And the reason they figured it out, they could tell he wasn't going to class, he was drinking all the time. One night, he went in there and destroyed one of their bathrooms in their townhouse, like destroyed it. There was blood everywhere. And he didn't remember it and denied it the next day.
Yeah.
And my son was like,
Blackouts are dangerous.
He's an alcoholic. And then so I don't want to sound like Carrie Nation here. It's like, but I don't know that alcohol, what good has it ever really done, really?
Yeah.
There's better ways to live our lives, I
It's
think.
a good question. And you bring up a point to that. Like recently, I would say in the past 2 years, we've had some situations where moms have lost their life. And,
we did.
to alcoholism. And I think it's a silent epidemic. Maybe we don't talk about it enough or bring it to the surface. It's kind of a secret sometimes.
It is. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, let's discuss it with
Yes,
someone
let's
who
learn more about
has-
this disease.
has had experience with it and has come out the other side and has some
Yeah.
great message.
And I mean, what courage
Oh,
to the book that
absolutely.
she's written.
Well-
You can't wait I have not quite finished it yet. So this will definitely,
Yeah.
after speaking today, we're going to,
yeah, no, it's great.
be pushing it.
She was a television writer producer for HGTV,
Okay.
the Food Network, and some other media outlets. And she today is sharing her personal and powerful story of
Yeah.
alcoholism, recovery, and reinventing her life at 45.
Mm.
Her book, which is #1 on Amazon in alcoholism and recovery, is called Uncorked, a memoir of letting go and starting over. Please welcome Mary Alice
Yes.
Stevens. Mary, welcome to the Moms Club.
Mary.
Hi, guys. So
Hi.
great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I mean, you got sober and had to approach menopause, which is a conversation we
just
just
talking
talked about.
can you
Just
show us?
you guys talking about the pandemic, that was so rough on my sobriety.
Oh.
I kind of
yeah.
followed a friend into sobriety. She was a couple years ahead of me, and she chose the pandemic to start drinking again. And I thought, it pulled the rug out from under me. I did not think I was going to get through that, but I did.
Good
But
for
yeah,
you.
there's so many triggers out there
Yeah.
in life. relationships, menopause, pandemic, you name it.
Well, because I think that's what happens sometimes. There is that trigger. You can get through it and you're not drinking for a while and then something happens and then
Well,
you start again. And so you have to work your way beyond that. Well, share with our audience your story. I mean, it's a long story, but briefly.
yeah.
How did you become
So I
sober?
grew
What
up
did you
in
decide?
an Irish Catholic family. I'm one of seven kids. Drinking was always kind of highlighted for, cocktail hour was the big deal in our family. And I was my dad's bartender's assistant since I was maybe 4 or 5 when I was, he'd put me up on a high chair and I'd get to put the maraschino cherries in the Manhattans or the olives in the martinis. I had my first drink at 16. I was a super awkward, self-conscious teenager and really wanted to fit in. And I had my first doctored big gulp of Bacardi and Coke at a party, and all that self-consciousness went away, and I became fun Mary. And I became the life of the party. I could talk easily and flirt, and people thought I was funny. I met this super cute guy, and we started making out. I'm like, this is perfect. And then I had to run to a cornfield and barf my head off. And then I'm like, this is it. This is the new me. I'm set. So drinking became my social solution. Then I went away to college, and of course, I went to San Diego State, little party school there, and
Party school.
drinking was the way to make fast friends. And everybody I hung out with was drinking excessively. So I just said, nothing to see here. Everybody's throwing up the day after and super hungover. And then I kept having to justify it. I was a young professional working in television and advertising, 2 careers that, lots of drinking if you want it. So it just became more and more a fabric of my life. And at first it was all about fun. And then it started also being my solution to stress, work stress. When I became a mom, parenting stress. I decided when the kids were 3 and 4 to quit my job to stay home with them. But the witching hour, you all familiar with that? Like
Very
4:30 to 7:30 when the kids just get really angry energy. I would just, anesthetize myself through that. And then on the weekends, when we have a babysitter, I'd go out and I'd be like so happy to be out.
Yeah.
I would just binge drink and I wouldn't stop drinking until I fell asleep. And I would wake up with like a wine glass on my nightstand, and just like, why did I have to do that? So I thought I could control it because on the weekdays I kept it to 2 or 3 glasses. But when I went out drinking and I went over that mark, there was no stopping. So when I was single, which I was for a long time, I had a marriage at 35 for a hot minute. That didn't work out, no surprise. I got married again at 39, had my kids at 40 and 41. So by 45, after a year of being at home with them and just realizing like I could not parent and drink the way I wanted to drink because I was putting my kids in risky situations.
Yeah.
We had a pool in the backyard and, I kept thinking like, I've had a few drinks. What if one of the kids falls and hits their head? I can't take them to the ER. Or what if I blew, then Child Protective Services. When I say blew, I mean, blood alcohol if I got pulled over. I drove over the Golden Gate Bridge once when my son was a baby and I'd forgotten to buckle his harness. This was after a few drinks. One time I went to breastfeed him in the middle of the night, and normally I would do it in the nursery, but I brought him to bed and I passed out and I could have smothered him, and I woke up in a full panic because I didn't even remember that I brought him to bed. And the last time was we were at a pool party and I was having my bottomless rosé and, I kind of wanted my husband to play parent because I'd been with them all week. And my son was noodling by, he was like 5, noodling by in the deep end. And I kind of made a crack like, don't make mommy put her wine glass down to save you. And even drunk, I was like, what are you talking about? That's not even funny. So I proceeded to get blackout drunk in front of the kids. I don't remember who put them to, well, obviously it wasn't me. I didn't feed them, put them to bed, any of that stuff. And I woke up the next morning and my husband wasn't in bed next to me for the first time. And I was like, I have to stop before something tragic happens. And, I should have stopped for myself a long time ago because I had put myself in a bunch of precarious situations. I took a 3-story fall and wound up in a body cast with a broken back and a crushed heel for weeks. Wound up in a body cast, but I wasn't considering damage to myself worthy of stopping because I got so much from alcohol still. But this kind of like, I crossed a line and said, I have to quit, or I feel like my husband's going to give me an ultimatum. God forbid I do anything to my kids. So this was the long version. Sorry.
No,
I mean, these are important things for people to hear.
I quit that day. That was 14 years ago.
Wow.
And I have stayed quit. And then I became sober Mary. And I did not like sober Mary. She was boring and insecure and lonely. And I had to go through that transition of getting sober. And I thought quitting drinking was going to be it, but that's just the starting point. So I had to go through all this renegotiating relationships with friendships and family and myself, creating a new identity.
Reading your book, I feel every chapter that I was reading, I was feeling it myself. Like, wow, that's a tough situation. If it were me, how would I share, oh, I'm not drinking anymore? I mean, you had to, I felt how hard that had to be to go through that day by day by day. And you were with your family who was used to drinking with them and parents at school. And we left one part out of this introduction, which is you live in Marin County where there's wine
everywhere.
Yeah. And it sounds like the drinking culture, now we're not going to deny it, in Austin, Texas is not a small thing, but it sounded like it was even a little bit more there. Like, I don't remember, do you remember serving wine or champagne at a birthday party for any of our children? I don't remember having alcohol.
Oh, it's definitely at my fair share of children's birthday parties, and the adults were drinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I guess that happens everywhere.
It happened all the time, right?
Okay. Well, I read that happened to you too. So it had to be like to decide that one day. And then how did you get through that? I know you did Alcoholics Anonymous. Is that right? You started
that was huge. I'm such an extrovert that I really needed that external support. I needed to be around other people who were going through what I was going through. And I also really needed an education about, like, I walked into there still not thinking I was an alcoholic. And by the time that first meeting was done, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. Just about all the control I tried to put around it. Like, I would try and drink just one big wine glass a night, or then I would do like just tiny little glasses and have 3 of them, or I'd put ice in it to make it last longer. Like, I was just obsessed, and I didn't understand that obsession was part of the disease or disorder or whatever you want to call it.
Yes. Can I ask, and were you hiding it?
Not really. No. I mean, it's kind of funny when I think back at it. On the weeknights, I would like go back into the fridge and quietly uncork the bottle so my husband wouldn't hear, but he wasn't concerned about my weeknight drinking at all. It was the binge drinking on the weekends that was the problem. I wasn't hiding the drinking, but I was hiding the hangovers and the blackouts and the constant obsession about, like, the first thing I thought about was, okay, let's do an assessment. How much did I drink last night? How am I feeling right now? Did I make any stupid texts or phone calls? Like, check the phone, and then avoid any conversation with your husband that might have like come up about like, what are we doing today or something. So there was a whole rigmarole around hiding that more than hiding the drinking.
And I assume that makes things very stressful, and you're not necessarily present all the time, and clarity is an issue about the day and the night before and things like that. That was something that I got from, reading part of your book, is that, you know what I mean? Like, you finally made the decision. And I guess one of my questions is, and a lot of people may have family members who are alcoholics, and it's really like, I'd love for you to speak to what was the final, I mean, you kind of just explained it, but like, what was the final moment that you're like, because I think people know that you have to want to get sober, and no one can talk you into it. No one can threaten, they can say, I'm going to lose my family or my spouse, or, the kids may not talk to you or whatever. But I mean, can you tell our audience what made it click for you that you're now sober for 14 years?
Yeah, I was realizing the next morning that I had been blackout drunk in front of my kids, when it would have been my job to feed them, bathe them, brush their teeth, read them at bedtime. So they were just 4 and 5.
Yeah, they were babies.
The fact that I didn't have any recollection of that was so terrifying to me. Now, granted, I knew my husband was there to do it. Sure. It's not like I was alone with them, but I just felt like, because alcoholism is a progressive situation, I felt like this is heading nowhere good. And I knew my husband was like, I just feared an ultimatum from him, and I wanted to control this situation. I didn't want anybody else to tell me what to do. And I knew the cons had outweighed the pros. It was kind of this measuring game I was playing for years. And that was the moment for me. And I just, I grew up super Catholic and then fell away from that. But I also fell away from like praying, because I'm like, I know I'm drinking abusively and God's not going to be in favor of that. So I kind of checked out on all that. But that morning I just said, God, please help me stay sober, get sober, stay sober. And luckily, it's been 14 years. So
yeah, that is great. Share for our audience. I know that at one point I saw you took a quiz or something. There's there's like 10 things that you could you're an alcoholic, sort of like if you check these boxes. Just generally give us, our audience, an idea, like if you look at some things that indicate you need help at this point, just to be honest with yourself, you're an alcoholic. Can you share some of those?
Sure. Gosh, I remember I think there were 12 questions, and I really tried to give myself the benefit of the doubt whenever I could. And I think I
give
scored
yourself an A. Yeah.
That's not me.
So on that list was drinking alone, obsessing about drinking. I mean, if you think you have a problem, you probably do. People who don't have a drinking problem don't walk around wondering if they have a drinking problem. Not being able to control it, lots of people can have a drink or two and be done with it and not get that phenomenon of craving. I certainly would get that craving and would just have to keep at it.
Yeah.
Blackouts, a super good sign that you're an alcoholic. It's also a self-diagnosing disease, so I would not label anybody else. It's kind of up to you to decide whether you are or not. Gosh, what else?
I mean, that's a list right there.
Yeah.
Mary.
Okay.
So yeah, that's good.
Well,
I like that.
I think if you even question it at all, then go check it out and say, let me look into this more and see. Find the other
right.
And just because it is self-diagnosing. So if you're questioning that because you've had a drink every day this week, or because I even read statistically health-wise, women can't drink that much and be healthy. I mean, like moderation, drink in moderation is what, one drink.
Yeah, I haven't read this.
It's very.
I think it's 5 to 7 a week, but I think it keeps reducing in size as they learn more about the effects of alcohol.
I've noticed, that's the case. So if you start questioning that yourself, then look into it more and make that decision.
So,
and
Mary,
it's so easy now. There's so many Instagram groups, Facebook groups. You can just Google it. I kind of never wanted to look at that. I never wanted to educate myself because I knew what the answer would be. So until I walked into that AA meeting, I was completely uneducated about alcoholism. But it doesn't have to be that way. You could educate yourself while you're still drinking and thinking about it,
and then maybe make the decision if that has to happen. So I have a question, only because it's personal to me, is that, you're married and you have a husband, you have kids, and when did the trust factor come back in? Do you know what I mean? You've been sober for 14 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So when did the trust factor in your relationship come back in? After you've worked the program and this is the new Mary, and you had to reinvent yourself. And so tell us a little bit about that, because a lot of people have family members who are alcoholics, and it gets very frustrating when you're on the other end. And so I think that's a popular thing that people want to know about.
Yeah, I would say, for those years in our marriage where I was drinking, we were kind of at opposite ends. I was very defensive. If
Sure.
I would do something obnoxious when I was drinking, like I was a happy drunk, but I was loud and repetitive, right? So we weren't getting into fights, but I was annoying, according to him. So when I quit drinking, I was able to be honest with him, and that really made us closer. So instead of justifying everything, I was admitting the truth. And I told him how hard it is. Like I felt so much shame that I didn't need anything he did was kind of in addition to what I was already giving myself. So I, the alcoholic, was filled with shame about being an alcoholic and
Right.
about
Yeah.
feeling so miserable and hungover when I should have been present with our kids in the mornings. You know how early they get up, right?
yes.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to be is hungover.
Right.
So because I stayed sober, we didn't have much trust issues. I think it's harder when you have a partner who relapses. I think that probably really eats away at the foundation. I had eaten away plenty at our foundation, but it was recoverable, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
we both got really honest, and we had to navigate it together because
Sure.
he drinks. He doesn't drink a lot, certainly not like I did, but he was respectful, and he said,
Right.
is it okay if I have a drink, or would you prefer I not? And I do remember pouring all the booze out of the house and getting a little glee that I poured his booze out too, because he liked this Grey Goose vodka, which I don't
Not
really like
today.
vodka.
Yeah.
I was like, blub, 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 blub.
Yep.
You know,
Here we
like,
go down the
sounds
you're
drain.
suffering with me, mister.
It sounds great that he was respectful like that, because it has to be hard when you can't drink and yet your spouse still can and does. And so it's good that they can be
Yeah, and she
respectful of
mentioned a
that.
really important thing, because relapse is really a real thing. If you have studied alcoholism or been through, that you could be just one day from relapsing, and this is,
Yeah.
you're always working at
You're
it.
not-
You're always, and so that's the thing. That's why it's so difficult.
You're not cured. You're
Right.
constantly dealing
Right.
with it. Well, we have some moms who have a lot of questions for you, Mary, and they are our Zoomer moms. So welcome, Zoomer moms. Welcome to the Moms Club.
Hello.
Hello, ladies. Well, let me share our first one. Anne, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and do you have a question for Mary?
Hi, nice to see you again, Monica.
Nice to see you.
So my name is Anne. I am a stepmom of 5 wonderful stepchildren.
That's amazing.
And let's see, I am an adult child of an alcoholic. My mother was an alcoholic, and I have actually never had a drink. I just didn't like the taste, and I really didn't like the way my mother acted. I felt like she was never there for me. And I did not want to be like her. I have been in recovery for over 25 years. I am a grateful member of Al-Anon.
Yes.
And because of my mother's alcoholism, I became severely codependent. In other words, I knew what was best for me, for you, and every single person I came in contact with.
Yeah.
And I could
That's true.
manipulate and control like no one's business. And that is actually, if you study codependence, it is actually the very first disease that we ever get before alcoholism, before drug addiction. I have been married 4 times. All 4 of my husbands have been alcoholics. And I will say, there is nothing like an alcoholic to be married to. They are so much fun. I just loved every single one of them. And really, I would do it all over again if I had to. I want to ask a question of Mary. And Mary, my question is, as I surmise over my own recovery of over 25 years, my realization has been that in recovery, sometimes alcoholics or drug addicts will substitute a new addiction to take place of drugs or alcohol. For example, food, or just control, or even, really codependence. I have just noticed that because all of my husbands have been in recovery, and I even married my last husband. He had a master's in drug addiction and alcoholism, and he really didn't need to be doing that, which is just my codependent opinion. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, first of all, I can relate to being controlling and manipulative because that's a sign of an alcoholic as well, or a symptom. That's something I continue to work on to this day. I do have the same addiction with sugar. It's funny, when I drank, I'm like, I don't have a sweet tooth. I never wanted dessert because I drank my dessert, wine or champagne. It never clued into me that that was all sugar. So I'm doing better with my sugar addiction, especially now that my kids I'm just an empty nester by 1 week, less than a week. So all that sugar went out of the house.
Yeah.
I am obsessive compulsive a little bit. Like, I love puzzles now, but if I start a puzzle, I will be there till my neck is broken. I get it. Don't really have any other addictions that popped up, and I'm feeling pretty good about my sugar addiction is at bay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sugar addiction is a tough one too. I think we need to talk about that on a future show. Because I've certainly suffered from that.
That's a whole separate show.
Michelle, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question for Mary?
Hello, is that me?
Yes, Michelle. Welcome.
Oh, hi, ladies.
Hi.
And you look so beautiful over there with that pink.
Thank you.
So my question for you, well, first let me say this. I congratulate you for overcoming and continuing to be an overcomer, because that is a day by day work. I remember when I used to smoke cigarettes, and I'm years past it, and I used to drink me a little bit of beer, and I loved beer so much. It had like the best taste. And when God took it away from me, I was angry with him because I felt like I finally found something I could fall in love with, and now you got it tasting like water. Why would you do that to me? But I congratulate you, because it is a day by day work out your own soul salvation. My question to you would be, statement question, when I was younger, I was very, very angry with my mother for being an enabler to my father, who was an alcoholic, who would beat the living daylights out of me and didn't protect me. So my question would be, was any of your children ever angry with you, or maybe angry with the father for allowing you to be this alcoholic so long in their life that they missed out on the goodness of their years? Did you ever experience anything with the children? Because with my father, the statement would be, with my father is, I said, well, he had an excuse. He was an alcoholic. But my mother didn't have an excuse. But me being older now, looking at life for what it presents, I understand being an enabler is a disease within itself when you're married to an alcoholic. But a child does not know that when they're younger. All they see is mom is allowing dad to beat the crap out of me. Mom is allowing dad to fall out in front of everyone. Mom is allowing dad to be obnoxious and curse all our friends out and put everybody out. So did you ever experience anything like that?
So my kids were only 4 and 5 when I got sober, and I kept that kind of drinking away from them. Thank
Okay.
God for babysitters, you know. My husband was not an enabler. If I crossed the line, he let me know it. You know, there was one time that I drove home. I always used to say buzzed, right? Buzzed, meaning I'd had a
Yeah.
few
Yeah.
drinks, but it's drunk, but I didn't
Yeah.
feel drunk.
Mm-hmm.
The kids were at home with him, but he could tell when I came in that I was kind of like this a little bit. And he just was like, you cannot do that. You have children. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
So he wasn't an enabler. And I do remember thinking, like, I really have to curb this before they have a memory of me being like this,
Right.
you know?
Mm.
So and I ask the kids now and they don't remember any occasions. So I think I might have escaped that.
Well, you're
How did
pretty
you deal
fortunate for
with
that. I wrote a book called Nobody Ever Told Me, so I have all the memories of
yeah.
everything because
Oh,
my
right.
father,
And,
yeah,
Right. I've
he
heard about
quit.
that book. And I
Yes.
can relate to you. My father had a really short temper and he
Mm,
would like stick his fingers in the mashed potatoes. And if they weren't hot enough, he would get mad at my mother to go reheat them. And
mm,
I didn't have any power over that situation. And it drove me crazy. And I would ask my mom, why do you let him do that to you? And she would say, I know who I married, and my engaging is not going to make it any better. It's only going to make it worse. So that kind of tore me up.
Yeah.
yeah.
mm.
Talking about children, so your kids were young when you became sober, but they became teenagers, and we know how tough it is with alcohol and kids. How did you handle that with your own children?
Good question.
How'd you address that?
Well, I wanted to be honest with them at an age appropriate level because it is hereditary. My sister is sober. My grandmother was an alcoholic. I have a few uncles on the other side who are alcoholics. So when I was little, I told them I went to mommy meetings. When they were middle school, I got more honest with them. Certainly by 8th grade, I was completely transparent with them. And any questions they had, I just wanted it to be a real open book and tell them that they needed to keep their guard up, to be aware that they might, you know. I read a statistic, don't quote me on it, but if one parent is an alcoholic, you have a 40% chance your kid does. If both, you have an 80% chance. So it has been an open conversation. It's hard for me to watch them live their lives. I don't want to tell their story, but I just kind of do a lot of this, you
Yeah.
know, that they make it through, especially between now and the age of 25, before their brains are fully formed. So yeah,
Yeah.
I try to be a good example of what not to be. But I also tell them to wear sunscreen because I have skin cancer and they don't do that either. So
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
only do
Well,
what you can
we can
do.
totally empathize.
Right.
Yes, we all experience the challenges of all of that. Roxanne, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself. And do you have a question?
Yes, I do. My name's Roxanne Davis, and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a single mom of a former micro preemie, so that probably fueled my alcohol drinking. He was born a pound and 4 ounces, and that was
Wow.
unraveling. Then 3 weeks after he came home, my divorce ensued, and Deep Eddy vodka became my go-to. And still, I mean, I still drink. I have, you say in your book that you had champagne at your 5-year-old's party. Well, my kid wants to have his birthday parties at a place called Margaritas, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Venue. They have a big tree house, and so, everybody's drinking at his birthday party.
Yeah.
But you talk about a lot in your book, and one of which is being a chameleon. You were the sixth child out of seven, which they always say the third child always has the issue, or the middle child has the issues, but you were the sixth or the seventh, and you constantly became a chameleon, taking your friends' identities. When you found something in them that you loved, you would take their identity. Well, not their identity, but you would fall in line, basically fall in line. And that was very interesting to me. Did you ever, through your sobriety, understand why you did that? Because I worry about my son being an only child without a father figure, in any aspect. Does he have that? But becoming that chameleon, being like somebody, I see some traits in him where he tries to be like his friends and stuff. So that was very interesting when I kept reading about the continued people in your life from age 5 up to 16.
Yeah, that had to do with a lack of self-acceptance. I always felt lesser than that my own aura, my own personality wasn't enough. And so I would kind of grab onto these shiny lights and be like, oh, I want to be like them. And it wasn't until I got sober and did the work, for me, that was 12 steps, going to therapy, talking to sober friends, that I realized that I am enough. And I started to enjoy my own company. So it's the self-acceptance piece that eluded me for so long, that maybe that's what your son is experiencing. I'm not sure.
It's interesting.
Wow. Jane, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us your name, where you're from, a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question for Mary?
Yes, my name is Jane. I'm from Nashville. I gave up alcohol at 45, started a 12-step program. The world has opened up. I come from a long line of alcoholics, and I can identify with every single thing you've said. I have a question about two things actually in your lifestyle.
She can't hear me. Can you just say something on the mic? Yeah, you can interrupt her. Hi guys. Sorry, your mic is sounding a little muffled. Is there anything covering your mic potentially?
No.
Are you using your computer or are you using an actual microphone?
I'm using my computer.
You might just have to project a little louder then. It's sounding a little bit muffled.
Hang on, let me do this. 1 second. I'm going to put in my AirPods. We'll see if that works better.
Yeah,
Hold on.
That'll probably help. Thank you so much.
Hello?
Hey, there you are.
Thank you. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Let's start over.
Yeah.
I'll just say, Jane, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question for Mary?
Take 3.
Yeah.
Hello. You can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So Mary, from one alcoholic to another. First of all, how did you tell the people at work? And were they appalled? Did you quit getting invited to parties? How did you manage that? And then the other thing is, well, we've talked a lot about unplugging, ways to eliminate stress. You and I don't have that luxury anymore to go uncork a bottle and pour a little glass of wine and chill out with everybody. In my case, it'd be watching the chickens in the backyard. I'm now a chicken mother. But how do you unwind?
That is a great question because I do get pent up with stress still. So instead of that glass of wine, I will take a nice walk. I got a dog a few years ago. That's very calming. Take a nice bubble bath, watch a good show, read a People magazine, just slow down, do a puzzle. Puzzles and gardening have become my Zen meditation. Like I can't chill myself enough to meditate, but if I can do something like that, that calms me down. Even something ridiculous like unloading the dishwasher, I find calming for some reason. And as far as telling other people, so I had quit my job a year before. So I didn't have to tell anybody at work, but I had developed this mom squad of local moms. I became like the PTA president. I still had all that producer energy. So I was very connected to my community. And the whole mom squad, the whole PTA was riddled with alcohol. So that was very awkward for me when the go-to gift for me for doing something, they'd give me a bottle of wine, and so what's my choice? I either say I don't drink and make them uncomfortable, or I take the wine and give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
When I told my closest mom friend here in town, it did not go well. She and I bonded. I think our first play date was margaritas in my backyard. And she just kind of ghosted me, questioned me, said, you don't drink any more than I do. And I was so disheartened by that. It was really difficult. Other friends, the majority of my friends who I've had for longer term, just listened with caring ears and were very supportive.
Yeah. That hurts my heart a little bit to hear you say that about your friend.
Do you feel like maybe she felt a little bit convicted herself by that? Because if you're drinking the same amount and you're going there, maybe she felt inwardly, maybe she should be going there too,
Yeah,
quite possibly. And or she just didn't want to hang out with somebody that she was going to feel self-conscious around drinking.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. For sure. Definitely. Let me ask you a question about, you've mentioned a little bit of humor in this book too. So tell us some of the humorous parts to Uncorked.
Okay, so I think you have a tagline: if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry.
That's right.
So I went to a 3-year-old birthday party, and this friend of mine, she lived about an hour away, and I never wanted to go down to her house. A, because I didn't want to drink and then have to drive home, but B, it was just a long drive. So I showed up for her party, a 1 week sober, and she pulls this bottle of Chardonnay out of the cooler, like ice dripping, like my mouth still waters thinking about it. And she's like, "Look what I got just for you for coming all this way." And I was like, ah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I can't. And she's like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "What am I going to tell her? I'm not ready to spill my guts." So I said, "I have a bladder infection." So she's like, "Oh, okay, I got you." And she's like, "I'm sure I have some cranberry juice in here somewhere."
Oh
and
boy, I know where
she
this
pulled
is
out a
headed.
juicy juice box for the 3-year-olds at the party, and that's what I had to drink. And I was just like, I felt so shameful. Like, it was hard enough to walk into that party sober because everybody was drinking, but to walk around with the juicy juice box, I just felt like such an idiot. And I felt like everyone's looking at me like,
I mean, Mary, I
"What
thought
are
you were going to say she made you a cranberry vodka. Like, I literally thought that's where you're going with this. Like,
the cure for the bladder.
the cure for the,
Yeah.
Well, Mary, thank you. So this has been a great show. We really appreciate it. Where can they find your book? And can you just show us a copy?
Show us your
so
book.
everybody-
Thank you
cover.
so much. This is it. It's
love
called
it.
Uncorked, a memoir of letting go and staying over. And this is me falling off that wall.
Yeah, I was
in-
like, what is the
in
picture
Ireland
about?
When I fell and wound up breaking my back in the hospital. And you
Girl.
can get it off of Amazon or anywhere. You can ask for it at any local bookstore.
Is there an audiobook yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
They usually record those a few months later. So
Great.
I'm eagerly awaiting my opportunity to do that.
Oh, I love that. I mean, sharing your story has been amazing. And I think that all of us can relate a little bit to what you have to say. And it is, like I said, it is critically important for people to learn about this.
Well, and thank you, Zoomers, for you all sharing your stories as well.
Yeah.
This has been a really great episode because I feel like everybody has really gotten a lot out of it and was able to share a lot. And that's what the
open,
Moms Club
honest,
is about.
raw.
This has been an amazing show, as we say here in the Moms Club.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to New Calm, which we absolutely love. Julie and I travel together and we have to share a room. And so it's difficult to sleep sometimes because some people snore. And so we use...
I've asked you to use the term kitten purr.
Okay, some people
many
kitten
times.
purr very loud
Many
where other
times.
people can't sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so New Calm is a great solution for that.
It is.
And it's an app. You can put Moms Club in the code at checkout, and you will get 15% off every month of your subscription. And it not only works for sleep, it works for focus, energy, creativity. We can't say enough about it. You spell it Nucalm. Definitely check out Newcom. And please join us at all of our live events. We're bringing moms together from all over the country.
It's
your
critical.
momtourage. You bring your momtourage or your mom squad or whatever group of moms you have together and join us live. We are going to have events in Nashville, Atlanta, North Dallas, and Shreveport coming up. Check the Inside the Moms Club website for your local event dates, and they're going to be fun, free, and informative. We will have a great speaker. We have prizes. It's a lot of fun. It's a good opportunity to get together with other moms, and there are limited tickets available. So when you have the opportunity, secure your ticket at InsideTheMomsClub.com. Thank you so much, Julie. As always, this has gone by way too fast. It was so informative and so great, and it is a great book. I really did enjoy reading the book.
Yes.
I definitely recommend that.
Yeah.
So
done.
Yeah. So next time we will remember our motto here on the Moms Club.
Please do.
If you don't laugh sometimes, Julie, what happens?
Oh my Lord, you are going to cry.
You are going to cry. So keep laughing out there, moms. We're going to see you next time inside the Moms Club.